Deliciously with Ara. Today we're going to make 어묵볶음. Subscribe and like! So 어묵볶음, it's one of our side dishes or like viands that we normally eat from Korean restaurants when you go. It's actually made of the fish cake or the Korean version of the kikiam. So you can grab like a pack of 어묵. Sometimes we call it like odeng, but odeng is like more of the Japanese term when we actually call the whole stew. So we call it 어묵 or fish cake, and you can get in different shapes, different packs, and different brands. And what I have right now is parang assorted cuts. So let's open this one. So if you have the square cut na typical na 어묵 na ginagamit natin, which you can actually cut it in whatever shapes and sizes or thickness na gusto ninyo. So it's really up to you what kind of look you want. Now I have assorted, we're just gonna do assorted cuts as well. And because it's normally kept frozen, as I cut it, isasabay ko na siya lahat sa aking caldero and you'll see some ice flakes in it, but it's okay because mamaya it's just gonna cook away and mag-melt naman siya automatically. So whatever shapes you want, feel free. So this is 1 kilograms of 어묵. I can actually cook in a lot of batches kasi para siyang viand. You can, after you cook it, pwede naman siya itago sa ref and konti-konti ang preserve every time you eat. And as you can see, the ones I got, a package, is parang assorted ang kanyang shapes. There's parang my mini balls, may parang something flat na round. There's like a long ones and square ones. And of course, the most commonly known one na yung parang flat na square. So it's really up to you whatever look you want. So as you can see, I just chop it all off. Parang paslantit ang aking hiwa. And for the small ones like this, it's very cute. I'm just gonna do like a small cut sa half. It's super masarap. So 어묵볶음 is actually one of the easiest viands that you can make. Kasi as you can see, super shortcut. Even kids can make it. So after you cut off your 어묵 in different shapes and sizes that you prefer, just put it all in one pot. Now we're gonna add some colors and some, pang vegetables just to make it look a little more healthier and taste better too. So kailangan ko ng isang buong onions. Of course, you can always ratio the amount that you want to actually have. So I'm gonna use 1 whole onions kasi 1 kilograms na 어묵 ang aking ginagamit. And after you cut your onions, very easy, just dump it all in your caldero. And to better brighten up the color, I'm gonna add my carrots. Hihiwain ko rin siya na parang medyo magiging ka-similar look ng aking kinat. So I've added my 어묵, onions, and carrots. Maganda nakuha kayo ng parang a caldero that's deep enough para it's easy to stir fry later on. Turn on the fire. And actually, we're already halfway done. Now, I've added my 어묵 and my vegetables. We're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of oil just to coat it up. So, 2 tablespoons, ikakalat lang natin siya. Stay tuned! Ömuk is basically fish fillet na kinakrush, mixed with flour, then fried, and then dried. So basically, it's medyo parang siyang matigas ng konti, parang kikiam. So what I want to do is make it very soft. We're gonna add water. Walang exact measurement ng water. Hindi siya dapat masabaw, but it has to be just enough to cover up para mababad lang ng konti ang ating ömuk. So I added 1 cup of my water, but of course, it really depends on the size of your caldero. As you can see, parang meron lang siyang konting water sa ibabaw, pero hindi siya parang sabaw. And then we're just gonna let it boil. And habang nagbo-boil, I'm gonna this 1 cloves of garlic to 1 kilograms of my ömuk, or you can actually use around 2 tablespoons of crushed garlic. So i-crush ko lang siya ng konti. To subscribe and like. Normally, di ba, stir-fry muna natin ang ating mga garlic just to get out the very fragrant aroma. But as you can see, for now, I wanted to give in the kick of and retain the spiciness of my garlic. Kaya i-add ko lang siya ngayon lang pag magbo-boil na. So every 500 grams is 1 tablespoon, but because I'm using 1 kilogram, I'm gonna use 2 tablespoons of my garlic, very roughly chopped. And then ikakalat ko lang siya here. The difference with the flavor later on, you'll notice, pag hindi natin siya ginisa in the beginning, is you'll still feel that there is parang may kick ng garlic and give you a little bit of a spiciness. But of course, it's very durable even for kids to have it. But I want to retain the smell, that's why. So ihalo ko lang siya, and then just wait for it to boil. And mag-a-add tayo ng 1 tablespoon of my sugar. Any sugar would do, like brown, white, or even washed, but I'm using washed. And a very generous amount of sugar will do. So 1 tablespoon. 1 to 5 tablespoons of my toyo. So I have here my soy sauce. Just remember that ratio, then you're gonna have the perfect taste. And then haluin lang natin siya and then wait for it to boil. Must-try recipe! And as you can see, pag mag-boil, kailangan naka-open ng ating lid because our purpose is kailangan medyo matuyo-tuyo yung ating water na nilagay natin kanina because the purpose was parang palambutin ang ating omuk. And as you can see, medyo nagtutuyo-tuyo na yung ating water and parang nag-puff up ang ating mga omuk dahil medyo siya lumambot sa water. Now we're gonna add in our green onions. I have here like a handful of green onions. You can always adjust the amount of green onions, but it's really good parang pampa-add ng color. So ika-cut ko rin siya ng konti. And ngayon ko na siya i-add because I want to retain the color of my green onions. So now I've added our green onions. I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons of my rice syrup. If wala kayong rice syrup, you can use corn syrup kasi it's gonna magpapagloss and magpapakintab siya sa ating appetizer mamaya. It looks very appetizing. But if wala kayong syrup, you can actually just replace it with any kinds of sugar you have. So 2 tablespoons of anything sweet. Just mix it well. As you can see, 1 kilograms of omuk is a lot. Isang buong caldera, right? You can actually serve it already like this, na parang soy version kasi if you don't like the spicy. But I'm gonna show you also how to do the red version na medyo konting spicy ng konti. So, first version, kung gusto niyo ng soy, after you turn off the fire, just add a drizzle of your sesame oil. Roughly 2 to 3 tablespoons. As long as you can smell the fragrantness of my sesame oil. And of course, always no fire pag sesame oil. So this is already my 어묵볶음, the soy version. I'm gonna put it on my plate. And sprinkle always with sesame seeds. All of these already as good as it is. If you wanted to do the spicy version of it, yung medyo parang may radish ng konti, a spicy kick, I'm gonna add in 1 tablespoon of my chili powder. Just sprinkle on top. And half a tablespoon of my soy sauce. So assuming that this ratio is for my 500 grams of my omuk, kasi hinati ko na siya, and then just mix it up. So give it a quick stir fry hanggang medyo mag-melt ang ating chili powder para lumabas yung redness of it just to give a very beautiful color as you can see. And because it's a spicy version, I'm gonna cut 1 piece of my sili and just add in my sili just to give it a little bit of an obviousness na medyo spicy nga talaga to. After a quick stir, turn off the fire. Although nag-add na tayo ng sesame oil kanina, considering that it was already on fire, and if we're gonna do the spicy version from the beginning, this is also the time you add in your sesame oil. Better always turn off the fire kasi pag medyo mahina siya sa fire, so once it gets hits up yung sesame oil, nawawala yung aroma, the roasty aroma of the sesame seeds. So after turning off the fire, I'm gonna add in also a drizzle of my sesame oil. It's super masarap. Tada! Here is my 어묵볶음. I made 2 versions. One is the non-spicy, the soy version, and one is a little bit of a kick with the red chili powder. So I hope you enjoy my recipe. This is a great variant, very easy to make, and for sure the whole family will love it. So see you next time. Bye! Subscribe and like! This is the taste I grew up with. You know, childhood flavors. Perfect for baon. Any kinds of meal. Great, great recipe. Now, try natin yung recipe na spicy. I know you love this. Hindi siya masyadong manghang. You want to make this in secret big batches, store it in the ref. Always you'll have the great taste of Korea in your own homes. For sure, you love my recipe as well. See you next time. Bye!